12 years of perfect marriage crumbled not in anger, but with 3 whispered words. "Good night, Michael." She dismissed it as a slip of the tongue, but I knew it was a calculated lie.
My name is Mark, and for 12 years, I thought I had built a perfect world. Not in the blocky, digital sense you see playing out on your screen, but in the real one. A comfortable home, 2 incredible children, Lily and Tommy, and a wife, Sarah, whom I loved with every fiber of my being. Our life was like a perfectly crafted Minecraft realm, stable, predictable, full of shared dreams and meticulously constructed, block by block. But sometimes, even in the most well-built structures, a single block can be out of place, threatening to bring the entire edifice crashing down. And for me, that block came in the form of a name that wasn't mine. It was a Tuesday night. Nothing special. We were in bed, the kind of comfortable quiet that only comes after years of shared intimacy. I remember the soft glow of the bedside lamp, the gentle hum of the house, the feeling of Sarah nestled beside me. I whispered good night, a simple, loving gesture. And then she responded, "Good night." Michael. The world stopped. The hum of the house, the quiet of the night, even my own breathing, everything just froze. Michael. It wasn't a common name among our friends, not even a relative. It was, however, the name of her college ex-boyfriend, a detail I vaguely remembered from early conversations, relegated to the dusty archives of irrelevant past relationships. I sat up bolt upright. My heart, which a second ago had been beating a slow, contented rhythm, was now pounding like a drum against my ribs. "Michael," I asked, my voice a confused, raspy whisper, barely recognizable as my own. Sarah stirred beside me, a little too quickly. Her response came with a feigned casualness that immediately put me on edge. "Oh, I meant Mark, of course. Silly me. Just a slip of the tongue. Long day." But the lie, or at least the evasion, was palpable. You know that feeling when someone tries to cover something up and their energy shifts, their body language changes, even their voice has a different cadence? That was Sarah in that moment. It wasn't just a slip. It felt significant. "No, Sarah," I said, my voice harder now, cutting through the thin veneer of her explanation. "You said Michael. Who is Michael?" Then came the line that would echo in my mind for months, the casual dismissal that wounded deeper than any argument. She sighed, an exasperated, almost irritated sound. "Honestly, Mark, it's nothing. An old friend, an ex, actually, from years ago. It just slipped out. It happens. You know how the brain works." It happens. Those 3 words, 3 simple words. They were meant to reassure, to trivialize, to make me feel silly for questioning. Instead, they struck me like an arrow. 12 years, 10 years of marriage, 2 children, and not once had she ever made a mistake like that. Not with any other name. And for her to brush it off, to act like it was just a common occurrence, it wasn't just a slip of the tongue. It was a breach, a betrayal. I felt a cold anger begin to spread through my chest. I got out of bed, the familiar warmth of our shared space, now feeling alien and hostile. "It happens, Sarah?" I repeated, my voice controlled but laced with ice. "We've been together for 12 years, and you call me by an ex's name in bed, and your immediate reaction is, 'It happens'? Is there something I should know about Michael? Is he still in your life?" Her defensiveness kicked in immediately. "He's not in my life. He's a ghost from the past. We haven't spoken in years. This is ridiculous, Mark. You're being completely insecure and paranoid. Go back to sleep." She turned her back to me, the ultimate dismissal. That was it. The conversation was over in her mind, but in mine, it had just begun. I knew, with a dreadful certainty, that I couldn't go back to sleep. Not in that bed. Not with her. I grabbed a spare blanket and a pillow and walked out of our bedroom, leaving her alone in the dim light. I ended up on the sofa, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment over and over. Michael. It happens. The words burned. The trust, so carefully built, felt like it was crumbling. The morning brought no comfort. Sarah acted as if nothing had happened, overly cheerful with the kids, avoiding my gaze, deflecting every attempt I made to talk about it. "Mark, darling, what is there to talk about? It was a simple mistake. I apologized. Can we just move on? The children are here." She even used our children as a shield. Let's not make a fuss. But I wouldn't let it go. The children are precisely why we need to talk, I insisted, my voice tight with strain. Honesty? I was honest. It was a mistake. What more do you want from me, Mark? A sworn affidavit that Michael is dead and buried? He's irrelevant. The anger in her voice, the immediate jump to exaggeration, it all solidified my growing suspicion. This wasn't an innocent mistake. It was a crack in the foundation. I realized then that my comfortable, perfectly crafted world was a lie, and I was going to find out how deep that lie went. I was a meticulous man. In my professional life, I built complex data structures, identifying patterns and vulnerabilities. Now, I would apply that same precision to my own life. Sarah had effectively shut down any direct conversation, so I would find my answers elsewhere. My first stop, her past. I started with the obvious, social media. It's amazing what people leave public, or what can be uncovered with a bit of digital digging. I went through old Facebook photos, LinkedIn connections, forgotten university alumni pages. I searched for Sarah, her maiden name, Michael, and similar combinations. It didn't take long. A faded, pixelated photo from almost 15 years ago. Sarah, looking younger, beaming, her arm around a man, Michael. His face was clear enough. And then I found his profile, mostly private, but enough public information to build a basic picture. University, general location, current profession. My heart sunk with a sickening lurch when I saw one particular detail. Michael lived in a city only 2 hours away from us. Not across the country, not even in another state. 2 hours. A manageable drive for a day trip, or a clandestine meeting. This discovery was the first brick removed from the wall of my denial. I began to look at everything differently. Sarah's girls' weekends that were suddenly more frequent. Her phone, which she guarded more closely than a dragon guarding its gold. The vague stories about meeting old college friends, always without specific names or details. My mind, once trusting, was now a database of suspicious data points, all connecting to one horrifying conclusion. I needed proof. Undeniable, irrefutable proof. I couldn't confront her with just a name and a city. She would deny it, gaslight me, make me out to be the crazy one. I needed to know the truth for my own sanity and for the sake of my children. I decided on a course of action that felt both desperate and absolutely necessary. I installed a small, discreet GPS tracker on her car. I felt a pang of guilt doing it, violating her privacy, but the gnawing doubt, the constant replay of Michael and it happens, was eating away at me. I needed to know. For my children, I needed to know the truth about their mother. It wasn't long before the tracker started telling a story. Regular trips to a particular town, 2 hours away, the same town Michael lived in. These weren't girls' weekends anymore. These were meticulously planned rendezvous. The day I finally got the irrefutable evidence was a blur of cold dread and burning rage. Sarah had told me she was going for a spa day with her friend Martha. Instead, the tracker showed her car parked off a rather upscale hotel in Michaelstown. I knew. I just knew. I drove there. The 2 hours felt like an eternity, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. My mind was a storm of emotions: fear, anger, sorrow, disbelief. When I arrived, I saw her car in the parking lot. I waited, and then I saw them. Michael and Sarah, walking out of the hotel lobby, laughing, his arm around her. Her face in that moment was lit up with a joy I hadn't seen directed at me in years. They paused. He kissed her, a long, lingering kiss right there in the open. It wasn't a quick peck. It was intimate, familiar. My blood ran cold. The Minecraft world I had built for 12 years, the one I cherished. My blood ran cold. The world I had built for 12 years, the one I cherished, shattered into a million tiny, pixelated pieces right before my eyes. All those casual dismissals, all those slip of the tongues, all those "it happens," they were lies. Every single one. She wasn't just having an affair. She was living a double life. I didn't confront them then. I couldn't. The shock was too profound. I just sat there, numb, watching them get into Michael's car and drive away. The taste of ash was in my mouth. My entire perception of my wife, my marriage, my family, it was all a devastating illusion. I went home. I walked into our house, the house we built together, and it felt haunted. Every photograph, every piece of furniture, every shared memory was tainted. I felt an emptiness so vast, it almost swallowed me whole. But beneath that emptiness, a new feeling began to stir. Not just anger, but a cold, calculating resolve. She had broken me, but she wouldn't destroy me. She would pay, and I would make sure everyone knew exactly what she had done. I didn't sleep that night. I barely even registered the passing hours. When Sarah finally came home, acting tired but vaguely refreshed, she gave me a quick peck on the cheek. "Long spa day, honey. Martha says hi." I just stared at her. My face must have betrayed something because her smile faltered. "Is everything okay?" she asked, a flicker of concern, or perhaps apprehension, in her eyes. "Everything," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion, "is about to change." The first person I called was David. David wasn't just my best friend. He was also one of the sharpest divorce lawyers in the state. I trusted him implicitly. We met the next day. I laid out everything: the Michael incident, her dismissals, the GPS tracker, the hotel, the kiss. I showed him the photographs I had managed to take on my phone. David listened, his expression grim. He didn't interrupt, just nodded occasionally. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful look on his face. "Mark, this is devastating, but it also gives us a very strong position." "I want her out," I told him, my voice firm, "and I want the children. She can have whatever else she wants, but she will not contaminate my kids with her deceit. And I want everyone to know what she did. I want her reputation in ruins." David looked at me, a flicker of understanding, even a touch of sympathy in his eyes. "That's a tall order on the reputation front, but we'll certainly make sure the court knows the truth. Custody will be our priority. Her infidelity combined with her blatant gaslighting will be a significant factor in our favor, especially regarding moral fitness and stability for the children. we'll paint a clear picture of her deceit. We devised a plan, a strategy not just for divorce, but for justice. I would move swiftly, decisively, and with an undeniable mountain of evidence. David advised me to gather every scrap of information I could, phone records, credit card statements, if I could access them, anything that hinted at her double life. I spent the next few days meticulously documenting everything, my anger fueling my focus. The confrontation with Sarah was brutal. I waited until the children were at school, so they wouldn't be exposed to the fallout. I sat her down in the living room, the same room where we'd spent so many happy evenings as a family. "We need to talk," I said, my voice devoid of the usual warmth. "It's not paranoia again, Mark. I told you, I'm not discussing it anymore." That's when I dropped the bomb. "It's not paranoia, Sarah. It's fact. I know about Michael. I know about the hotel. I saw you." The color drained from her face. Her casual demeanor shattered. She stammered, denying at first, then trying to blame me. "You followed me? You stalked me? How could you? You're insane!" "No," I countered, holding up the printed photographs, the GPS logs, the time-stamped evidence. "I'm not insane. I'm a husband who was just told it happens by a wife who was sleeping with another man. And now I'm a man who is divorcing you." She exploded, yelling, crying, begging, pleading, threatening to take the children, threatening to ruin me. But I was unmoved. The image of her and Michael laughing, kissing, was burned into my mind. Her tears meant nothing. "You won't get the children," I stated, my voice like cold steel. "Your actions demonstrate a profound lack of judgment, deceit, and instability that will not serve their best interests. David has all the evidence. It's over, Sarah." The divorce proceedings were ugly, as expected. Sarah fought dirty. She tried to portray me as an abusive, controlling husband, spinning a narrative of my paranoia and stalking as the reason for our marital breakdown. She accused me of being obsessed, manipulative. But she underestimated me, and she underestimated David. David systematically dismantled her defenses. He presented the GPS data, the photographic evidence, the credit card statement showing hotel rooms and fancy dinners in Michaelstown on dates Sarah claimed to be with girlfriends. He even brought in Martha, Sarah's supposed spa friend, who, under oath, admitted that Sarah had canceled on her multiple times, often with vague excuses. Martha, who looked genuinely conflicted and hurt by Sarah's deception, confirmed that she had no idea Sarah was seeing someone else. The turning point came when her lawyer tried to dismiss the Michael incident as insignificant. David played a recording I had secretly made during our first big argument after the "It Happens" slip, where Sarah had vehemently denied any contact with Michael and gaslighted me mercilessly. He contrasted this with the irrefutable evidence of her continued affair. The judge, a stern but fair woman, listened intently. When it came to the children, David made a compelling case. He emphasized my stability, my consistent presence, and Sarah's pattern of deception. He highlighted how her clandestine activities would have required significant time and energy, potentially taking away from her duties as a mother. He presented character references from my colleagues, friends, and even the children's teachers, all vouching for my dedication as a father. Sarah had lied, not just to me, but to everyone, including her own children. The custody battle was particularly brutal. Sarah, desperate, tried to turn the children against me. But Lily and Tommy were smarter than she gave them credit for. They were young, but they sensed the tension, the lies. They saw their mother often distracted, sometimes distant, and they knew I was always there, always present. My children were my world,
and I fought for them with a ferocity I didn't know I possessed. The judge's ruling was a victory beyond my wildest hopes. Divorce granted, with fault assigned to Sarah due to her proven infidelity and deceit. But the real triumph was custody. Full physical and legal custody of Lily and Tommy was awarded to me. The judge cited Sarah's pattern of deliberate deception and demonstrated lack of judgment as a primary factor, stating it created an unstable environment detrimental to the children's well-being. Sarah was granted supervised visitation, a clear testament to the court's concern about her influence. The news spread like wildfire. In our small community, where everyone knew everyone, the story of Sarah's betrayal and the subsequent divorce and custody ruling became the talk of the town. People who had once admired her, who had been her friends, now looked at her with pity, disdain, or outright condemnation. The court documents, being public record, laid bare all her lies. The details of Michael, the hotel, the deceit, it was all out in the open. My revenge wasn't about monetary gain. It was about justice, about truth, and about protecting my children, and ensuring that Sarah faced the consequences of her actions, not just legally, but socially. Her reputation, once pristine, was now irrevocably tarnished. She tried to cling to her social circle, but the truth was too devastating. Her "it happens" had been exposed as a calculated lie, a shield for her infidelity. Friends who had previously been Sarah's, people we both knew, slowly gravitated towards me. They came to me, expressing shock and sympathy, confirming my suspicions that Sarah had always been a bit elusive, evasive, but they never imagined it would lead to this. They saw her attempts to portray me as the villain crumble under the weight of undeniable fact.
I didn't actively seek to ruin her, beyond the legal necessities, but the truth, once exposed, has a way of doing that all on its own. Sarah eventually moved away, unable to bear the whispers and the stares. Michael, I heard, quietly disappeared from her life once the legal troubles and public scrutiny began. He was, after all, just a part of her deceit, not a partner in her destruction. Life went on. It wasn't easy at first. The divorce left scars, and the betrayal left a deep wound. But with David's support, and most importantly, with my children by my side, I began to rebuild. Our home became a place of honesty, stability, and love. Lily and Tommy thrived. They had their father, who was present, who was honest, and who loved them unconditionally. I watched my children play, their laughter echoing through the house, and I knew I had done the right thing. I had fought for my family, for truth, and for my dignity. Sarah's "it happens" had been the catalyst that shattered my perfect world, but from its ruins, I built something stronger, something real, a world without lies, a world where truth prevailed, and where my children were safe, loved, and free from the shadows of deceit. My story isn't just about a wife's betrayal. It's about what happens when you decide to face the truth, no matter how painful, and fight for what's right. It's about realizing that sometimes the most devastating collapse can clear the way for building something truly resilient. And in the end, it was a victory not just for me, but for the fundamental values of honesty and integrity. And that, I believe, is a world worth building, block by block, every single day.